Trifecta by Dean Pearl. Chapter 20. Ben and Max both showed up at the twins' house about the same time. They had all arranged a lunch together to discuss Ben's plans for them. Ben was approaching the door just as Max was pulling into the driveway. Wesley answered the door and asked Ben why he wasn't coming in. "I'm just waiting for Max. He was pulling in just as I was coming to the door, so I figured I'd wait for him," Ben announced as Leslie also came to the door. As Max walked up, they all entered the living room and took places on the couch to sit, except for Ben, who wanted to remain standing. He was a bit nervous about what the three of them would have to say about his plan, but he was hoping to convince them with some new news he'd gathered. As they found their respective places, Ben joked, "Okay, I know you're all wondering why I called this meeting," as the others laughed. "I do have some news for you before you tell me your decision." Ben had their acute attention. "I've been talking to some people, one of which is our media guy that does all our video productions for commercials, promo spots, etc. I told him I wanted to recreate the robbery scenario. I told him about the three of you and how I wanted to pitch you as a vigilante crime-fighting team that works with the law to aid our department in fighting crime. He found the prospect quite tantalizing, especially when I mentioned that we were going to present you in full battle costumes." The three of them smirked a bit at Ben's use of battle costumes. "In relation," Ben continued, "I also spoke with a former Hollywood costume designer that lives here in Vegas. He's actually a nearby neighbor of mine. He was excited about working with us on some costumes." "I already know what I want mine to look like," Leslie spoke up, as Wesley and Max laughed lightly at Leslie's anxiousness to be the Red Danger. "Good," Ben remarked. "That means you must all be in agreement with my little plan." "We have some questions first," Wesley replied to Ben. "Tell them what we want, Max." Wesley passed the buck to Max so that she wouldn't have to sound like an antagonist to her boyfriend's plans. Max gave her a surprised look as if to say, "Thanks," sarcastically. "Well, Ben," Max started, "there's a couple things we'd like to be honest and upfront about." Ben started to pace the living room, feeling a bit anxious now. "By all means," looking at Max. "We are fine with parading around like circus clowns, doing a uniformed recreation of the event we discussed, but we're more concerned with what happens after the dog and pony show. We also have concerns about our band being targeted as a result of such a promotion." Ben nodded in agreement as Max continued. "We don't want to be a one-trick pony in all this. If we're to get involved with your promotion, there has to be some promises to us after the fact. When the Klieg lights go off, we still want to be a valid, non-costume team that actually does hit the streets to fight crime and the criminal element here in Vegas. We actually want to make a difference, a real difference." He hesitated to see how Ben was taking it. He seemed okay with everything so far, but remained quiet during Max's speech. "We want you and your office to feed us information we need to target and take down criminals either as or before they commit their crimes. We also need your legal assistance in the event that things might go sideways occasionally, and we'll need your help. I need your promise that you'll do all you can in both these areas before we agree to this. And before you answer, I will say that we are in complete support of your cause to get elected. And even if you can't allow us to be actual vigilante crime fighters, you will always at least have our support for canvassing with promo flyers or answering phones for fundraisers." Then he looked at the girls. "Did I miss anything?" "No, I think you pretty much stated our case," Wesley replied. "You did good, Maxie," Wesley smiled at him affectionately. Ben, meanwhile, had stopped pacing and sat down in a recliner opposite of the couch the other three were sitting on. "I think we can make this all work to your complete satisfaction," Ben assured them. "I already talked to the current DA and the police chief about our little plan, and they were behind me on it 100%. Of course, the current DA wasn't worried because he's not eligible to run again anyway. Plus, he's making a run for lieutenant governor of Nevada, and he thinks it's a pretty good plan all around as long as we're careful about crossing some legal lines that can't be crossed." "For instance," Leslie queried. "Well, like if you accidentally crippled or killed someone in a vigilante operation, we would keep everything as low-key as possible while trying to work on a settlement as opposed to any arrests." "I can see where you would have to limit your responsibility in a scenario like that," Max told Ben. "But we won't be carrying any guns, and our experience, especially the girls' experience, will hopefully prevent us from doing something out of anger. That's how real trouble gets started, right, ladies?" "We have taught you well, Grasshopper," Wesley quipped. "So we're on," Ben hoped. "I think Wesley and I need to do as much thinking about our costumes as Leslie apparently has," Max joked as he stood up and walked over to Ben to shake his hand. "One other thing," Leslie spoke up. "We intend to keep our band name, but add another member, just to throw people off when they see us in costume with the two girls as Trifecta. That's a hard image to forget. So we need a new name for us as crime fighters, and we will wear masks to try and hide our identity. We don't want anybody associating us as crime fighters to us also as a band." As Max suggested, we don't want to telegraph where hoods can find us at their own discretion. Okay, good planning, Ben assured her. But won't a four-piece band named Trifecta, he emphasized, have a conflicting image or name issue? And have you come up with a name for the crime team yet? Wesley, Leslie, and Max just looked at each other. We haven't gone so far as to think of a new name for the vigilante team yet, but we will have one soon, I'm sure. Right, guys? Leslie said, seeking assurance from her new crime-fighting partners. Absolutely, Max confirmed as Wesley nodded in the affirmative. So where do we go from here? Max continued. I guess I'll set up an appointment with the costume designer, see how long he estimates it will take to make 3 costumes. Then we'll set a target date with the video producer, and that will involve some pre-production, shooting, and editing. We're probably looking at a month before we're ready to actually shoot something, Ben informed them. And I guess Max and I will have to give as much thought to our costumes as Leslie has already given to hers, Wesley joked to everyone's amusement. Then they enjoyed a light lunch of tuna salad sandwiches, chips, and soda, while chatting about costumes, etc., before the guys left, going their separate ways home.